How would you describe your teaching style?
My teaching style is pretty much open. I try not to do, I've been doing it for a long time. I started off in a structure because I was doing something in studios that weren't accepted quite yet because I was doing street form, and it was very difficult to do that in a studio. So I had a structure that they wanted, but once I started getting in there, I realized there wasn't the freedom of what I had. So it's all about not being set and not choreography, because I'm not there to give you choreography work. I am there to give you a freedom of myself and exploring and coming up with something that your energy is helping me deliver. So I really just have an open mind. Whatever spirit I'm feeling of the song of that moment, that's how I teach my class, and not structured so much as military or choreographed. And we don't always do the same things. I'm always adding new values and new little tricks and things like that. So we share more than just choreograph, okay, leave, choreograph, okay, leave. So there's just no real structure, even though there is structure. You know, that's kind of weird, but.
Mine is actually changing as we speak. I try to come in with a format, and I realize that the format doesn't really work. You know, there's a gentleman over here standing that played the drums earlier, and my head was swirling as I was listening to the interviews, because that's my next plateau, to bring that into what I'm trying to teach. Because that's raw movement, raw emotion, and for me, this dance is what it is. You know what I mean? I get different kinds of students, and I have to make sure that I don't get frustrated, because my technique is way up there, and I have to teach that for little simple things that I think are simple little things, like going across the floor in 3 leaps. And these kids can't do that because they don't know where it's coming from. So I have to slow myself down, sometimes 20 decibels, to figure out how to make them understand, because as a teacher, it's my job to make them go across that floor with a simple step without showing the work. Because it is action, reaction, which is just movement, it's just life. How do you teach someone how to walk when they already know how to walk? But if you put it into music, they think it becomes a whole different thing, and it really isn't. You know, this woman, today they took my class yesterday. The day before yesterday, my music had lost, I'm going to say it, had lost its balls. My iPods and everything lost the balls. There was no sound. So I had to borrow music from somebody else, which was Alyssa, I think, and Anna, and use their music to make up a combination on the spot. Because the one that I had set as a trained dancer and teacher, out the window. So when I started teaching that dance and that combination, I went into audition mode. A 53-year-old man, to go into audition mode, you have to turn into 19 years old. Yesterday morning, I couldn't even move. I was moaning and groaning. So when I came to class yesterday, that was the initiation of the step. An old man step that couldn't get out of bed, and here we go. And that's how we start the movement. So one of the students that came to class today hated me this morning because she couldn't move. I said, but I gave you an out. I already showed you how to get up out of bed because I was sore the day before. So now you know how to dance, and now you know how to punk and whack and pose, because that's how you got out of bed, to make your body move. So artistically, for me, it's changing every day, because my technique is a little above of what I'm getting as student-wise, you know. So it's interesting.
Well, me, I like to pretty much describe it as organic, because the way I was taught organically, without even knowing I was being taught. You know, I have a saying, you got to pay attention in class. You know, life is class. So as you're living, you really don't see it, but when you reflect back, you go, oh, wow. All that time I was putting in the club, and all that time I was living and having a good old time and feeling the beats and letting the song do what it does, that's it. You know? That's it. That's exactly it. You have to let the song do what it does to you. You have to be totally open and let it, and just go there. And what I find a lot, because people feel that, it's more a modern thing, that people feel that once you dance, there's a lot of judgment on you, and it's hard for kids now to open up. And I feel sad for that, because I was afforded an environment where I could be free, you know, that these kids don't have. Now it's like showtime. Let's be performance monkey right now. You know, every time they go out, it's like a circle develops and it's like showtime. What about the social communication? What about the stories we're telling each other? What about the interaction that's lost? And I think what needs to happen is it needs to come back. But that's the good thing why, as they say, the generation before is beginning to look and say, wow, you know what? We need to be here. We need to play again. You know what I mean? And we need to play with you. Because the best way is to lead by example, I think. So.
My teaching style? I'm very off the cuff. I walk in the room, put on the iPod, and I do what I do. And put it together, and you catch it and grab it, and I change the music up every time, and so you have to be on point with your ear, really listen. But I started with, I can't come in with set anything. I can't, because it will just, I won't remember. You've taken my class. It's very off the cuff, and whatever happens, whatever comes out, that's what it is. And it's in line of what this dance is about. I keep it true to what it is, but at the same time, it's me off the cuff, in my mood, whatever happened to me that day, that's who you're getting. And yeah, that's how I work. How about you?
Me, I'm pretty off the cuff myself also. I mean, I don't like to walk around with a set idea. I mean, I do have an idea sometimes, or sometimes I just don't, you know, but I don't plan a routine ahead of time. I have ideas maybe that I haven't messed with, or ideas that that I had in the back of my mind that I might want to use, but I don't come with a set routine. But what I try to do when I teach people is to give them a sense of where these dances come from and the various interpretations of them based on the people who are the practitioners of the style that I'm teaching, whether it be hip hop or locking or popping, whatever. And I try to give people a sense of understanding that these dances are coming from an underground source or a more organic source. So when I'm in the classroom, I'm trying to give you a sense of that organic grassroots feeling in these dances. And I advise students to go in the environments where these dances have been cultivated first, because the primary classroom is the clubs or the party environments where these, or social settings where these dances have been born and originated out of. And if you don't connect to that, then how are you really connecting to the dance? How are you connecting to who you are? So in my class, it's all of those things. And I don't think about choreography. I think about getting them to understand the movement and the dance for themselves.
Really quick here. And once again, that's why we're all together. It's hysterical, because sometimes we're almost going to say the same thoughts of what somebody else might say. Or Alyssa's told me, I just taught that the other day. Yeah. It's like, and I'm in LA, I'm in LA and she's in New York, you know? But I also wanted to, I know that's going to be like a plug. I'm sorry to say, but we aren't having an opportunity here. But in LA, I have a club that a gentleman helped set up with me. His name is Gremlin, Zulu Gremlin, that it's called The Riff. And it's a club where I'm going to be giving dance lessons, workshops before the club. And then the club opens, so the kids get to experience what they're learning in a raw form. Instead of going from class to class to class, they get to go from the class to partying and sharing what they've learned from that class. And that will be happening hopefully in September, and it'll be in Hollywood. But it's for that purpose, to learn and then socialize with what you've learned.
Wow. We need that here in New York. Can you...
There's a lot of clubs naturally. There's a lot of places in New York. Some are more popular than others. There are a lot of places you can go that are very, very not popular, and the music is off the chain, and you can get open. And then there's the major parties where all the dancers go. And then there's parties out in Union Square. There's parties everywhere. So this is a different New York. The one unique quality that makes New York so separate from, I think, a lot of the rest of the world, really, is that we always stay connected to that. We always have something happen in a club, somewhere to go. We stay connected to it. LA is a little different than here. Anywhere. Yeah. Or you have to create it. Yeah.
Well, you know, also, it's funny because you go in LA, I go, oh, they're going to have a club happening in so-and-so. And I go there, and all it is house music. And they have a circle, and they're all doing house dancing. I'm like, what happened to all the varieties? They've lost sight because the kids don't know how to socialize anymore. Right. They just know the battling and the choreography and who's better than who. When we dance, I was taken to a club here in New York because I'm out here. They took me to a club, and the freedom of it. And people are running around. You might be bumping into each other. A guy grabbed me and started doing the hustle. I mean, it's wild because it's all about this freedom spirit, you know? But in LA, you go and it's like, oh, that's house. Okay, that's hip hop. Okay, that's popping. Okay, that's breaking. Where we can all go and just dance? The gay club still, believe it or not. It's still the gay club, once again. I go to the gay club in LA. So I'm hoping that I can start something that we can travel around the world with it and share and have different teachers teaching in that club so we get a variety and be able to share that.